Jonathan Greenard, a name that we have not yet talked about here on Panthers Today. Could a trade be in the works? A new report suggests that it just might. Also, on the back half of today's show, we'll get to the latest Panthers mock draft roundups. All the sports media outlets around the interwebs dropped their latest mocks after the NFL Combine concluded at the end of last week. So we'll break down all of this on today's edition of Panthers Today by Chat Sports. My name is Tyler Smith, and let's get into this Adam Schefter report here on Jonathan Greenard, saying the Vikings are now open to trading Pro Bowl edge rusher Jonathan Greenard. They would like to keep Greenard, but they also have salary cap issues they're working through that have led to these trade conversations. So we're going to break down what this means. How involved could your Panthers get in these conversations? Make sure you are subscribed first before we tell you how, because this is your one-stop shop for Panthers offseason content. And if the Panthers go out there and make a move like trading for Jonathan Greenard, you know we're going to cover it with every detail that you need to know here on the channel. So help us hit our next milestone of 2,500 subs. Go down below, hit that subscribe button for free Panthers content all offseason. All right, so Jonathan Greenard on the trade block per Adam Schefter and the Minnesota Vikings. This comes after he signed a 4-year, $76 million deal back in 2024. He's one of the highest paid free agents of that cycle. But, the second year of the deal, the shoulder injuries kind of forced him to play hurt a little bit and even miss 5 games last season. Now, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN followed up this report and said that the Vikings are looking for a day 2 selection, so a pick in either round 2 or round 3 for Jonathan Greenard here. And look, I get it. That makes sense. He's one of the better pass rushers in football for the past few seasons, and you're not just going to give a guy away for nothing. But I will read between the lines a little bit here when it comes to this Greenard report, because my point of view on it is this report comes out because the Vikings have already gotten trade offers on Jonathan Greenard. They want higher trade offers for Jonathan Greenard. They probably haven't, teams around the league are 100% looking at these teams' books, and they're like, okay, well, what's a guy that they would be potentially willing to move off of if they could save a good bit of cap? Because the Vikings would save $12 million by trading away Jonathan Greenard here. So teams are definitely just going to be able to call these front offices up and throw out an offer just at the beginning before a guy's even officially on the block. Now that they've probably gotten a couple of them and they're not satisfactory, they want more, so the Adam Schefter report comes out. And it makes sense for them wanting more. This is a double-digit sack guy year in and year out. Obviously, last year, limited to just 12 games, and that shoulder issue was kind of bothering him all season long, so he's only able to get 3 sacks in the season, 10 TFLs. That's another thing about Jonathan Greenard. It's not just limited to him rushing the passer. He's also a very effective run defender as well. He can play all 3 downs, and for a Panthers team and roster that really, really needs some help on the edge, look no further than a guy who does it all in Jonathan Greenard. Over the past 3 seasons, he's ranked really highly in a bunch of key metrics for edge rushers here. 16th in pass rushers and pressures over the last 3 seasons. And keep in mind, this all comes including a year where he misses 5 games. He's dealing with injury for the entire season. 15th in sacks, 20th in QB hits, 13th in QB hurries, 17th in 4 fumbles. The guy just makes plays, and 12th in havoc plays. Do I know exactly how that is determined there? Havoc plays? I don't know, but the guy makes noise along the defensive line. He gets paid a pretty penny, too. $22 million in 2026 and $22.3 million in 2027. But I will say, the Carolina Panthers will not have to be taking on all of this money. Most of it they will have to be taking on, as if a team trades for Jonathan Greenard here, the cap hits will look a little bit like this. About $19 million for both of the years here in 26 and 27. But I was doing the research, as far as what a team would be paying Jonathan Greenard, and then right before we filmed this video, I saw this tweet from Albert Breer talking about the whole situation with Greenard's contract, saying the Viking situation with outside linebacker Jonathan Greenard is a bit complex. Greenard is seeking a market correction to his contract. He's due $19 million and would like a raise. So Minnesota is comfortable with him at this current number, probably not going to give him that raise, and the team views him as one of their best players and just won't let him go for nothing. But if someone comes with a big offer, a deal could be had. Okay, well, what would that offer look like from Carolina's point of view here? I think it would just take a simple second-round pick and get this deal over the finish line. Pick 51 for Jonathan Greenard. I understand he's coming off injury, so it's a decently high-priority pick to be sending away, but you get a really, really good player here, and it makes sense for both sides. The Vikings get a top-priority pick, plus they get a bunch of cap relief here. They are in cap hell. I think it's like $40 million over the cap for 2026. So they have to clear a lot more money before they can do anything in free agency and beyond. And the Panthers need an edge badly. Like they need to replace DJ Wonnum, like Nick Scorton, Princey Umamielen. Like they're young and they're still a little bit raw. Let's be honest here. They need an established veteran guy who you can kind of guarantee production out of. If you get a healthy Jonathan Greenard, you're looking at close to, if not more, than 10 sacks year in and year out. Would you make the trade? Let me know in the comments section. A for accept, D for decline, and if you would take Jonathan Greenard for pick 51. A very easy one-for-one deal. I want to throw your thoughts down in the comments section. I'm accepting it because I think the Panthers need a blue-chip edge rusher along that defensive line, and the odds that you get a guy at pick 51 that is as productive as Jonathan Greenard has been, it's not the greatest odds in the world, so I'm hitting my accept on that trade. Now, let's get into the post-NFL Combine mock draft roundup for your Carolina Panthers, starting with Fox Sports. This is all going to be at pick 19, by the way, all first-round selections here in this mock draft roundup. Kenyon Sadiq. Woo! This guy's a player, man. He had an excellent combine. I mean, I think it was like the fastest combine, the fastest 40 ever ran by a tight end, or the fastest 40 ran by a tight end in like 25 years or something like that. He was only 6'3", so not like even the biggest frame tight end out there, but he's not afraid to lay a block, and he's one of the most talented, just one-on-one, go up and get it type of targets in this draft. I think he's going to be in this league for a long time and playing at a really high level. You can move him onto the boundary as well, kind of like Kyle Pitts-esque. Like he does it all at that tight end spot. I would be very, very happy if Carolina ended up with him at 19. ESPN is going with Spencer Fano, tackle out of Utah. My thing about Spencer Fano is, yes, he was incredibly productive as a Utah Ute, but the issue that a lot of people have with him is the arm length. He doesn't have very long arms, and we saw in the 2025 NFL Draft, Will Campbell getting selected 4th overall. Like he had that same issue with the arm length. Again, at pick 19 is a little bit different than pick 4, and I understand you may be wanting to get a good stopgap in during this Ike Ekwonu knee injury that he's recovering from. Taylor Moton's getting a little bit older, so I understand Spencer Fano, but the arm length, given what we've seen from Will Campbell, especially in the postseason, does worry me a little bit. NFL.com's got Zion Young, edge out of Missouri, going to Carolina there at pick 19. He's a guy who, at this point in time, is actually a better run defender than a pass rusher. So for a team of Carolina that I believe just needs to get to the quarterback more, that's the way they're going to win these playoff games and in these tight moments and the biggest ones. You need to go out there and get a guy who's a little bit more refined as a pass rusher on day one than Zion Young is, in my opinion. But what I do know about him, he plays 110 miles an hour. People over at Mizzou say he practices like it's a bowl, it's a college football playoff game day in and day out. PFF has CJ Allen heading to Carolina here, linebacker out of Georgia. My issue with CJ Allen isn't anything that he's done at UGA or even his combine was fine, but we weren't hearing about him as much as we were with a guy like Jacob Rodriguez or a Sonny Styles. Obviously, Styles, a guy who's going to go and feels like the top 5 of the draft at this point, and Jacob Rodriguez, a guy who's creeping up from round 2 to maybe even close to late round 1 as well. CJ Allen's cool. He's good. He's good at scaling the field and making plays in the open field, but I don't know. I feel like I could wait on a guy like, or maybe even trade down for a guy like Jacob Rodriguez and pick up a couple more assets if I was Carolina here. CJ Allen is probably 3rd on my linebacker list at this point. CBS Sports is going with Caden Proctor, the big boy out of Alabama. Offensive tackle, another guy who would help stopgap this Ike Ekwonu injury and eventually probably take over as the right tackle once Ekwonu is back and healthy. Fingers crossed that he is. But again, any of these names aren't the worst. I wouldn't mind any of these 5 coming to Carolina at pick 19. But if I had to give my preference, I'm going Sadiq 1. I would say CJ Allen probably 2. I'd say Fano 3, Proctor 4, and Zion Young 5. That's just the way that I would rank those. Those opinions may change as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft and we know more and more about these talents, but that's just how I have it as of right now. 5 places your Carolina Panthers are mocked at 19. Name a player that you want the Panthers to draft at pick 19 down in the comment section. Who's your guy? Let me know down below who that is, as that will do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because if the Panthers make a move for Greenard, if we hear anything about your Panthers making moves here over the next week or so, because free agency is on the horizon, we're going to let you know about it here on the channel. So subscribe, turn those noties on. We'll see you guys next time, and as always, keep pounding.